It's a great honor for me to meet such a learned audience here in Nairobi. Many of you scholars, lawyers, students. So I was reminded that my spiritual master, Prabhupada, the author of these books, he was here in the same university in Nairobi, in your Taifla Independence Hall, 1972. The source of all knowledge, which we say is the supreme or absolute source of all knowledge. Prabhupada explains in his books, in many places, there are two kinds of knowledge. One we call inductive knowledge, and the other is deductive. It's immediately there, and you learn from higher authorities. So this is this ultimate source of knowledge that Prabhupada is giving us. It's coming from, we say, God. God has many names: Jehovah, Allah, Yahweh, Katanda, Mungu, many names. So some people call him Krishna, but many translations of those names: the greatest, the supreme, the all-attractive, many names of that source of all knowledge, the source of all energies, the source of all truth. And defending, or does it have a higher purpose? And the Vedas are consistently saying this ancient knowledge that Prabhupada is repeating is like a postman. The teacher is like a postman. He passes down the knowledge without change. So Prabhupada emphasized this one point. This is my main point of my talk, introductory talk, is the Vedic information, atato brahma jigyasa. Now we have the human form of life. There's many ontologies. In Christianity there's an ontology, there's a vision of the universe. In Islam there's a vision of, and in every, even ancient African traditional religions, there's an ontology. What is the living being? What is this nature? What is time? What is action and reaction? What is this body? What is activity? These basic questions have to be solved, according to the Vedas, in order to solve the main problems of life. What are the main problems? Is the main problem eating problem? Is the main problem sex problem? Is the main problem sleeping problem? No. The main problem, death. What are we going to do about death, birth, old age and disease? If we get a chance to go to America, I'm not Congolese, I'm not Indian, I'm not Italian, I'm not Polish. I am the entity, the spiritual atom, dwelling in this American, Danish, Indian body. It's the first teaching that Prabhupada is giving in these books. Try to understand this from the real viewpoint of human life, not animal life.
From DR Congo. Then we have Umapati Das is from India. Then we have Tobia from Italy, and the wife from Italy also. And then we have Monica from Poland. So the movement is international. These are just few of the many people that we have in this movement. And all of them have read these books. And I'll invite Mr. Peter Harvest who will come and talk to us about either one of the topics. Or
that while Kenya preserved this cultural diversity, especially to do with the different tribal languages and cultures, Tanzania took a policy of uniting. And as always, there is two sides of the coin. So we benefited by unity, and Kiswahili became very highly promoted and a unifying factor. But the other side of the coin is that we lost the cultural diversity. And it's like everyone here, someone is dressed in blue, some in white, some in red. It's very pleasant. So if everyone is dressed in white or maybe in red, it can be a little bit boring. So it's not harmed in any way. What is the use? So I don't want to go more than 3 minutes. I welcome the next speaker. Thank you very much for your
Thank you, Mr. Mahando.
Yes, whatever was being said here, it's called Veda, the original knowledge, the original wisdom. Who gives the original wisdom? Mungu, Allah, God, Dieu, Nyamuzinga, Yahweh, Nzambe, any name we call him, is absolute knowledge. God didn't create this world. Krishna, we call him Krishna in Sanskrit, which is exact discrimination. He gave a catalog, and that catalog is called Veda. And that Veda, he gave it to disciple succession, as we say, the first creation, Adam, Abraham, and it was given not as dogma, but as knowledge for all human beings, not for cats and dogs. And it has no imperfection. It gives all knowledge in all career of all creation, mathematics, physics, chemistry. The cause, l'effet de causalité, the action which have reaction, we say is what we call the law of karma. All that knowledge is in these books of Prabhupada. Is everybody, wherever we pass, with our spiritual master, Vishnu Swami. God, we can't know also, even you can't know the secrets of your father's testaments without calling his name, Hare Krishna. Would you know the secret of your father without calling him, or your boss? Call him and he will give you the testament. So this is a fact. So let us have such belief in God, Mungu, Yahweh, Allah.
All of you. So I have also 20-30 years realization of these books. We know very well India is a religious country. But one thing I did not know, since after reading these books I could understand how much great this book is. First thing, I am talking political. So I was thinking why some people are very good natured, some people are very angry, becomes immediately angry. Somebody likes steal, and somebody likes drink, eat meat, all these things. Just like everybody here, everybody likes to say peace. Everybody wants prosperity. So here, I think his consciousness, he states. Somebody is murderer because his consciousness like criminal. After reading this book, you came in this book's consciousness. That's why you are here. So present time there is great need to change the consciousness. If we change the consciousness, then there will be peace in the country. There will be prosperity because we become free from greed. There is nothing problem in this world. We have enough.
That we are not the body, we are souls. So it doesn't really matter if you're a woman, if you're a man, if you're African, European. Everybody is the same, but we tend to judge the people on how they look like, how they behave. We just look, oh, you're a woman, you can't really do it. Oh, you're a woman, so you can't be a teacher, a philosopher. And in many other religions or philosophies, there are no women. And in Vedic knowledge and in Prabhupada's books, women have many important, they occupy a really important position. Many of them are teachers, spiritual masters, because people just don't tend to judge them of being a woman. Women has to be given protection, because obviously because of the body they are weaker. As the children are given protection as well, but it doesn't mean that we don't treat them as equal. So that's why this knowledge embraces everything.
And they make me calm and clear, which is my property and mind. Is it not? You are advised to be fantastic. That was the argument to use.
Directly on the books because I've not read them. But my question is, some of us come from life with higher teachings, which if you listen to our teachings, like being a Luo is like a calling. Everything that you do is like serving God. Because if you walk into a house and there's one seat, you'll have to stand up for the elderly. If a dear one dies, you have to wail with all your might. If a dear one makes a joke, you have to enjoy it with all that goes with it. Therefore, my question is, all that good which is in our culture and tradition and way of life might correspond with what I've read, like from Gautama's Buddha's, let's say, law of cause and effect and other, the good, the states of life. My question is, if we have that and it's good, is it possible for you to publish us? Because we have that and we might lose it. While we might bring this and it might look placed in a setting which is not indigenous like our setting. Because our way of life, we eat, there's food we eat, we don't eat much pepper. In India they eat much pepper. Therefore, if the wisdom comes from east and we have wisdom from south, can we publish them together?
Nice question. Can we publish Bhaktivedanta Book Trust? Well, actually Bhaktivedanta Book Trust is publishing books of Bhaktivedanta Swami. But his followers have written books in the same tradition. But they're not published directly by Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, but they're published by other publishers. That is the difference. But
yeah, my name is Johnston, and got introduced to
I got introduced and invited by Ram. I don't know where, I think he just went busy, he's a bit busy. Now, I accept that you have a lot of knowledge. I accept there's a lot of wisdom in what your teacher and what his writings are about. What I have a problem with is the figure Krishna himself, as an individual, as a person. That is what I have a problem with. In as much as there's a lot of spiritual knowledge, I come from a very spiritual background. I've been brought up in the church, and I've been taught a lot of spiritual principles you may have. But beyond that, the person of Krishna, the person that you would have me understand to be the representative here on earth for the Most High God, I have a problem with his representative, of who he is. The little research that I've done is not much. He's been associated over and over with understandings of gods before him in Hindu culture. And those gods to me represent idols, right? Because they actually have physical representations in stone, cast in whatever other form. So I want to understand truly, before I should accept the knowledge that you offer, who is Krishna? Okay? As opposed to Vidhu, I think it was Vidushi or Vidhubi, I'm not sure. But who is Krishna?
thank you, nice question, important question. The word Krishna literally means the all-attractive. So one is attractive, it's analyzed, one is attractive because of different opulences. Someone who is very wealthy is attractive, someone who is very beautiful, someone who is knowledgeable, someone who is strong, someone who is famous, someone who is renounced. These are all attractive features of a person. But if there's a person who has all of these to unlimited amount, then he's called God or Krishna. So there's another name for God, there's many names for God. God is the most lovable.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Steve Biko. I'm a Rasta. Now, contrary to him having a problem, me I have a fascination with Krishna because he's a blood God, just like my God. He's imperial majesty. So, my humble request is this: you can see, I've always wanted to have to read the Bhagavad Gita because I understand it's about Krishna. So my humble request is this: I would like, since now I've seen it, in fact it was like I've been meditating about it. My God or my Krishna, His Majesty has. So if you're selling these books, since I don't have money, I don't have my money.
Stick to Rambo. He has a library system. He'll loan you the book and he'll come and help you with the book.
Exactly.
You can sign one book and give it to him. Yes, you can autograph and give it to him.
Exactly, because while others have problems, we have a fascination. That is the duality of life. Now, to this man, I just wanted to help you to answer some of the questions. Now, when you say word Krishna, when you say what Krishna is, simply translated, Krishna is Christ. Simple. It's just that maybe Krishna is in Sanskrit, but Christ comes from the word Greek, Christus, to crystallize. And it just is the same as Selassie, because Selassie is Trinity. You say about God being omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, Selassie. That's why we say, Haile Selassie, I am power of Trinity. So, it's just the same. Krishna was there, you're talking about maybe 5,000 years ago. Jesus was there 2,000 years ago, we love him. Well, I say for this time, Rastafari is here. So Krishna lives on.
Well, thank you very much. I also would like to express my sincere gratitude for you to come to expose this kind of language, which is very close to our African culture. You see, when the Europeans came to colonize us, they translated the Bible. Not that I'm saying that the Bible is not a good source of knowledge, but some opinions of authors really contradicted with the Torah, the Old Testament, and with the African culture, our customary law, which was unwritten. So many of these things, they were translated into our African languages, and most of them believe it as truth. So I've been wanting to go back. One thing I like about this movement is the scientific base. And as Africans, we are the pioneers of science. Like in Egypt, we had great scientists. And we also gave the world the concept of the monotheistic God. Remember the Pharaoh, Akhenaten, who reminded the Egyptians of the true nature of God and the universal brotherhood. So I'd like just, I think you should go a little one step further in your renaissance back to Africa, which is the mother of all nations and mother of all civilizations. So I'd like to translate the book into my local language, which is I'm of the Abaluya people from Western Kenya, so that if you can facilitate it or sponsor it, I'm pretty ready to go ahead and translate this book into my language. Okay, I publish my own books electronically. We are in the electronic age right now. So other opinions, I'll do it myself further. But for now, the first step, I think this should be translated into my local language.
knowledge. As far as we have gone, I've understood 1, 2, 3. That leads us to have a question. I have understood my dear friend talking about Jesus Christ, and you have quoted something that Jesus Christ is just like Krishna. So my question comes. In Islamic, we have Muhammad as a mediator, and in Christianity, we have Jesus Christ as a mediator. So I want to know if Krishna is a mediator or Krishna is God. That's my question.
The program, how it works, like if you don't mind, we are filming. Yeah, just like what are your experience like? What were your expectations before you came, and what do you think? Is it answers your expectation, and you would expect something else?
I didn't know what the talk was going to be about, but I'm interested actually. I'd like to read some of the books and find out more. Yeah, and I was able to at least get enough of what you people are trying to portray. Yeah, and I'd like to read the books.
Yeah. Personally, also, I had no clue what it was about. I didn't even have any expectations because I really didn't know what it was about. But now that I've sat through the session and I've had you talking and I've had your teacher talking, and it makes life seem so simple. You know, it's just good and bad. You know, so I kind of like it. It's interesting. I'd like to know. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's opened my mind to like other people's way of living, because by not knowing, maybe I had this certain, I was prejudiced towards, but then now I must have gotten to know a bit of something, and I'd love to know more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were just thinking about the expectation you had before coming to the program. Did it answer your questions, or you were disappointed? What do you think?
Did you like?
Yeah, you're welcome to say it.
It was great, yeah. And then I was just keen on, like, let's say, the way you can promote even publishing locally. I think that's the only thing we never talk about, but finally said that you've been doing the publishing by yourself, yeah?
Yes.
And you see, the idea is sometimes some of us don't even know how to do the publishing. I think we should have taken people through the process of that you can get a small machine, you can publish these, bind them locally, something like that. You see, I think that's the process which was lacking, but the rest is just fine.
And did answer your questions, or you disappointed, or what did you think, like, in general?
What you like, or what you didn't like? Or...
When I came here, I expected one thing, answers, right? Which is basically most of the time, that's what we find that we need. There's a lot of spiritual talk, okay, in the world. There's so many religions offering so many different understandings. So what I am looking for is an understanding that is true to God. Because the video clip in particular showed that we need to have the real understanding of the real God, not per se what we want to interpret as the real understanding. So like for instance, I have no problem with my Rastafarian brothers, but where it becomes a question of black supremacy, white supremacy, or supremacy of a certain people, or supremacy of a certain skin color, that is, in my understanding, not what God sees, not what God saw when He created us. And I know for one, I'm a Christian, and one thing I'm offered is that with the Christian religion, it teaches me a way in which I can get to God. I can get to the understanding of God through whichever other path I choose. Right? So, for me, what this session was about finally getting to know who the real Krishna is. And I think let me say, giving it a percentage, 80%, I think my question was answered. But I need more knowledge. I need more understanding, and I need to know
that it's not only about a mental exercise. Because the Lord is not about my mentality only. It is important, but the Lord is about my heart. It's about my soul, right? So I want to know where God comes in when it comes to my soul, my heart, not only my mentality. That's what I ask.
Basically, what did you like, what you didn't like, did it answer your questions, or how do you
feel? I have been reading, I've been interested in Asian cultures, but I'm a scientist, and I major in African history, though I do self-study. So what I like the most, and what I like about the Asian thought, is the scientific base they put in their religions. So the knowledge is not out of intuition or speculation or out of superstition. So the scientific base is very important. So that's the most important thing I liked about it. And also the concept of God and the nature of God, which is different from the Western God, which is this vengeful, terrible, jealous God. And actually, the God, as much as they denounce all other gods, God does not denounce them. He knows their existence, and he recognizes their existence without being jealous or something like that. So that is the same even in our African spirituality, whereby we can have all these gods and we can deify a god like the Nyabingi goddess that was in Congo. They deified this goddess and it became a religion. So you can pray to the gods and goddesses, but they have a limit. So when they don't answer, we change and we go to the Supreme God. So that's what I like.
About the program, does it help you in understanding the program? Did you like it? Did it answer your questions, expectations? You think?
Well, it is just good to know that there are some people out there that recognize that universal brotherhood, because that is the true aspect of true religion, the universal brotherhood. And I can see people from different nations. So I like that, and it is refreshing to see that there are people who are in this crazy world. Yes, in this crazy world, all the bigotry, all the ism, racism, tribalism, all the sectarianism. It's refreshing to see that there are some people who, actually there are people who are truly seeking for God and seeking that goodness that is deep in everybody, regardless of their origin.
Okay, this time.
Rastafari coming from the sky. Yes, that's the thing.
This time, you don't know that Jesus who is up there in the sky.
I wanted to ask about how do you feel about the program? And what were your expectations before coming? And did it answer your questions?
When I came, I was just told by surprise. I didn't even know this thing was there. I've just come from my home country, Nakuru, and I've just arrived, So my friend just told me there's something, But funny thing, about 4 days ago, we, the Rasta brethren, there is a Rasta community in Nakuru, we were sitting. Then one of the Rasta brethren was telling us how he went to Shashamani. He met an Indian guru about things. Now we started talking. In the course of the talk, we talked about the Krishna, the blood god, because I, Rastafari, is about Jesus Christ, in his kingly character. King, ruling, God in human flesh. That's the whole idea. So I was just asking myself, why can I get this background? Is it Gita or Jita? Gita. Because that is where we have the story, we know. That is where we have the story of Krishna. So as a Rastafari, of course I'm fascinated, most naturally, by that black God who was there in India, the pre-Aryan race, because he's black, he's a black man, So we say it's the same thing, When you talk about Krishna, you're talking about a man 5,000 years ago. That's nice. That is the love of God revealing himself to mankind at that time. Jesus Christ, nice. This time, His Imperial Majesty, Rastafari. Chewing my ital. I was taking my prasadam because that's the time was just arrived. My heart. So I came when the movie of Gandhi. Yeah, but up to here, I love everything. Even this ital is part of the program. I love it. Yeah, man.
You got the Bhagavad Gita too. Wow.
This is what I've been, the whole of last year, I have been desiring to get the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a prayer come true.
Destiny is, nothing is accident. Nothing is accident. Everything is
vibe. What you desire is what you get, whether positive or negative. You
we also
attract
talk about it.
Program.
Yeah, very nice. I like that program.
How do you like when you just came out?
But don't say like that.
You just came out like something you never.
Don't spoil, Papa. I was there in the door.
You're supposed to be inside.
But I don't come because I'm fearing.
This one you say the program was nice and you just came.
How you can say like that? You ask to God, He knows.
I'd like just to ask about what were your expectations before coming to the program? Did it answer your questions? How do you feel about it? Yeah,
It has been very successful. It has been very successful. I just learned about it on the advert. Yeah. And I am not new with the Hare Krishna. I have in the past visited them together there. The Hare Krishna. So I am not new. I am not new in the.
Yeah, you already know about the philosophy.
Yes, I like the program.
Yes, it is so much important.
It answers some of your questions.
Today I had no questions. Even if I come in a little bit late, but tomorrow I will be them at Raji. I'm now going to prepare myself for tomorrow's event.
From you, did you like?
Yes, very much. Now.
Good.